Czech-Republic's national anthem.
She said to me, she said, excuse me, please come here. You're so cute. You're a star. I was like, whoa.
Now please remain standing for Spain's national anthem.
Game 3 on this Saturday from the Tanya Israel. And the Women's European Lacrosse Championship is underway. Ralph Bjornchik alongside Steffi Samaras. Once again on our coverage, white on white for Spain as they control the opening possession against the high-flying, high-scoring Czech Republic team that leads in terms of goals per game. They have totaled 39 goals through 2 games in Group C. They have shown that they have outgrown the developmental grouping as they take on Spain, who comes in riding high off the program's most significant win, just the 3rd team in the nation's history. They came from behind and defeated Finland yesterday, 11-10, getting 2 late goals and then running out the clock. So for Spain and head coach Georgie Hurt, she is just looking today for her team to play a full 4 quarters and learn so much against a great Czech team. As the Czechs force a turnover and the foul the other way.
Yeah, so I think that the Czechs are going to take care of business against Spain, and that's a great thing that Spain's coach is aware that this is a learning process for Spain.
In tight, Tierney Larson starts the scoring. It's a Czech Republic team that has a doctorate seemingly in transition.
Perfect use of words for that, Ralph. I think that their passing and their precision in passing is going to create, or has created, one of the largest buzzes in this tournament.
Larson picks up her 5th. She also leads this tournament with 10 assists. Push ahead for Spain. And Spain to the outside as they'll settle possession with Teresa Borgera. Out comes Anna Nichova. In goal, the starter for the Czech Republic. And the Czechs will look for transition. Yuli Razankova. And talking to Will Mraz of the Czech Republic, the way that they have played so well, scoring an 18-8 win. This is another pass. Hold the thought. Larson locates another cutter, and this time diving to the front. That's Bella Martyr, the 2nd youngest member of this team. Martyr from Houston, Texas, makes it 2-0.
And I think we're going to see a good mix of people for the Czech Republic today. I think they're going to hopefully try some new things and use this game as a way to advance themselves. And hopefully Spain can learn a lot from the precision aspect of what the Czech Republic can do with regards to transition passing. I think that is what is a huge factor as we look in the next rounds for the Czech Republic. The transition passing is so deadly, it almost creates a man-up situation for them every single time.
And this is a pass that sails away from the stick of Teresa Bartushkova, so it will be Spain with possession with goaltender Marta Rodriguez. And Spain will look to execute the clear. Raquel Barreda. Spain will be without arguably their leader defensively, and Teresa Monero today, as she left yesterday with a lower leg injury. As the Czechs come up with a ground ball in the corner, Martyr. And the sweep across up top before they settle it with the flag out. And the foul is Teresa Sikharova. Will go for a free position look. And she'll have some options in front of her. She'll play it in front, and there's a finish. Marketa Malinovska, she's the youngest member of the Czech Republic team, just 18 years old. She'll return to back home before boarding another flight. She's going to play for the U19 team in Peterborough, Ontario, Canada next week, beginning on July 31st. She's the captain of the U19 bunch.
That's great. And that play right there off of the 8-meter is a play that we're seeing more and more completed by offenses in this tournament. The opposite post 8-meter feed from high.
As Selena Hunter, she's the one that commits the foul, the Czech Republic, to transition and advance. Left ahead, Katarina Hlavsova, she and her twin sister Jana on this Czech Republic team. Camps looking for the ground ball for Spain. And Spain will have it defensively and look for the clear. Big smile on the face of Coach Georgie Hurt of England when I asked her about yesterday's victory. Here's a shot up high. Wow, what a feed from behind. Bartushkova. And up top it went to Teresa Sikorova. 4-0.
And again, the Czech Republic does such a good job on their passing. But to do that, you have to be in the right place at the right time. So you think about, oh, they're just passing and catching. No, they're not just passing and catching. They have anticipated where their teammates are going to be before they're even there. That's really hard to do.
It's clear that into the 5th day of the tournament, the Czechs play with the fastest tempo on the offensive end. Draw control, collected by terrific midfielder Michaela Srhova. Both she and Adela Blahovtsova, 2 nights ago, celebrating their birthdays, turning the same age. And 2 outstanding midfielders. What a terrific day that was X amount of years ago on July the 18th for the Czech Republic program, as they have led this team to what appears like it's shaping up to be maybe the best tournament run they've ever had. As they look to command Group C and win this game, be 3-0. They take on Finland tomorrow night, last game of group play. They'll take on the Finns that will have a long time to think about their loss to Spain yesterday, blowing a 2-goal lead late. Feed inside Strohova, and the shot challenged there by Rodriguez. Ground ball collected, Martyr, save made by the stick, Marta Rodriguez.
Great hold by Marta Rodriguez. Dead center of the cage. And this is, I think, one of those games where Spain can really practice. They're going to be under heavy pressure the entire time. As you can see, the Czech Republic is fully pushed out on them.
As Zapata is bumped, we have a water break on the field. The Czech Republic has come out looking the way they did during the time here in Netanya. 4-0. The Czechs lead Spain today from Israel. 4-0 is the lead for the Czech Republic. And they have had flying starts also, Steffi, to all their games, where just even in their first game, 6-0 before you sit down against a solid Austria team. And then they blitz Sweden to a 9-0 start. And these are all first quarter margins. That's the other particularly impressive thing that they've done here, is that they don't need to build up to it or perhaps be in a position where they have a couple of possessions just to get settled in. They have been settled in immediately as Sarah Quigley works it behind for Spain.
Yeah, their quick start is quicker than most, and they're attacking everything. One of the things I love about the Czech Republic, not only their precision passing and their speed, but one thing that a lot of coaches love to talk about are teams that do individual lacrosse things as teams. So when we say go to a ground ball, they're going to a ground ball in 2s or 3s. They're going to defense and man up situations in 2 and 3, or man down situations in 2 or 3. They're constantly supporting each other all over the field.
Sweep to the front, and Teresa Bartušková nets another goal. And then the balance, too, for the Czech Republic on just a 16-player roster. It has not been overwhelmingly 2 players. They have goal scorers up and down the lineup, regardless of situation. Bartušková, she nets her second, and they already have 5 different goal scorers to begin this game. And when I asked Will Mraz about the next level, 39 goals through 2, he'd love to see them work the offense and be more efficient 6-on-6, because where they're going to go against better competition next week, they're going to need to execute. You would presume that there are going to be better teams that will stop their transition offense, and they'll need to execute 6-on-6 at some point, and maybe a grinded out single-digit scoring kind of game.
And that'll be interesting to see them have to execute all of these passes that we've been talking about in that 6-on-6 situation. They may be one of those teams that does way better with the passing on the move as opposed to the stand and feed type of a pass. So I'm excited to watch them play through these next rounds.
Barbara Brajantova swung around Sikharova. Everybody will get a touch here, and this is an example of that. They missed their first look as they run through behind with Bartušková. So Bartušková now as the primary feeder before Larson goes back behind. Pick up here, Teresa Sikharova. Sikharova, a 4-time, or I should say, we're talking about Michaela Serhova. There's also so many multi-talented athletes here too that it's quite evident the way they play. Sikharova especially will tell her story as Bartušková recovers that ground ball. 5-0 is the lead. We've passed the water break of the opening quarter. And Spain just trying to hang around here, provide some resistance and learn from it. Big keys that Georgia Hertfeld, our transition defense today has to be excellent. In tight, that's a long possession that's finished off by the Czechs. So Marketa Malinovska makes the start today on the attack. She has 2.
You know, Spain's defense did a really good job. That was, like you said, a very long possession. Their defense has extended out, taken away a little bit of that comfortable aspect that I think the Czech Republic has been used to over the past couple of games. And I think if they continue to play with that high pressure, the Czech Republic has a good chance of having to work on that 6-on-6 offense.
And that was one of their more extended possessions we've seen here, because they had a couple of early looks and it probably lasted over a minute. Here's a pickup from Anna Lotman as we have a foul off the draw control. Lotman has simply been marvelous. Played at the University of Louisville, but a native of Prague, Czech Republic, driving across Martyr. So there's Bella Martyr making it 7-0 with her second.
Bella Martyr is again considered as probably one of the quarterbacks of this Czech Republic offense. It's interesting because we haven't had to talk much about the Czech Republic's quarterback on offense because they do so much of their scoring in transition. But just with that simple move right there, a little reminiscence of Megan Whittle.
Yeah, just the power sweep across. And Martyr heading into her sophomore season in Williamsburg, Virginia, at the College of William & Mary. Michaela Strahova was able to win the draw control. And back behind it goes. Martyr having a great time. Got a chance to run into her mom, who made this long journey to Israel. Mom had played at Yale and was her high school coach at the Kincaid Academy. Dad playing football at Princeton. Strahova, Lotman, and pressure by Alejos. To the crease on the pass, Martyr.
And I'm loving that the Spain defense is stepping up and taking away not only the feeding option for the Czech Republic.
Oh, what a catch there. Lotman feeding Strahova, who then keeps the shot low on a little backhand shovel.
And that was a great finish by the Czech Republic, but kudos to the Spain defense. They are taking a lot away, and I know it might not appear to be that way, but they are taking away a lot of what the Czech Republic is used to doing. That's a really hard thing, especially with a team that can gain so much momentum off of the draw or coming from their defensive end.
Strahova's 10th goal of this tournament, and she has been as explosive of a midfielder as we've seen. She collects it there off the circle and gets it ahead to Bartushkova. Up ahead, Lotman, and she could not finish. The pipe stopping her. And the pickup behind for Marketa Malinovska. Malinovska feed, another finish, Martyr. There is just a supreme chemistry. They just don't miss cutters. 9-0.
And that's one of those shots where threading the needle is the only appropriate way to describe that type of feed. There's so much confusion and congestion in front of the cage. And what a great job of slipping that ball in there.
So Bella Martyr with 3 in this opening quarter. So pilot up to 9-0 Czech Republic. And it continues. So they have matched their largest start, which they achieved against Sweden 2 nights ago, before the Swedes had an answer. And that's the end of the first quarter. 9-0 for the Czech Republic, the tournament's highest scoring team, and they're about to maybe up those numbers when we come back to Netanya. The Czech Republic, again blitzing another Group C opponent. 3 goals from Bella Martir, and they lead Spain 9-0. More terrific ball movement. And all the possessions, the understated parts is the possessions that the Czech Republic has been able to win off the circle. Teresa Sikorova will take this one. And she's able to win the possession from Blanca Alejos. And whipped ahead here for Martir as you watch the terrific pace that the ball is moved around and in great sync. And this time they will go to what will be something of a second midfield. We don't see Lotman or Michaela Srhova here. And Larson kind of playing a little bit more in an off-ball spot with Willem Raz, I think, tinkering.
Yeah, tinkering is a very good word for that.
We've seen so much of Larson with possession, and that'll give opponents in the knockout round something a little extra to think about. And here was Tierney Larson on the drive. Larson picks up shooting space, and she'll be on the wing. So Larson, terrific story because she works as an English tutor now in the Czech Republic after moving there officially a year ago. After being an assistant during the 2017 World Championship for the program under Willem Raz. Her pass, though, for Malinovska. Malinovska couldn't catch it, so it's into the stick of Marta Rodriguez. So Spain will now try to execute a clear against, look at this, full field ride by the Czechs.
And I assume that this full field ride by the Czechs is practicing for the future.
Catalina Borghera. And Steffi, how much within games have you had full games where all you did is tinker? You know, what about the idea of not getting away from who you are because you're working on so many other things?
Well, you know, I think that's the next level type of play. The tinkering aspect is how can you maintain and know what your level is, and it's sort of like I like to call it like your base level of fitness. You always want your base level of fitness to be really high, and then it spikes depending on what you're training for. World Cup one year, European Champions the next year. It's the same way as your gameplay. You want your gameplay to always be consistent, but there are still times within games when you know certain things are going to happen, whether it's a player is not going to be playing up to their abilities that day, maybe you have an injury that you weren't expecting, you have a certain player from another team that's giving you a rough time, and that's where I think the tinkering aspect and the working out things that you don't normally do in a game situation only builds that experience.
Nichova, and what great hustle on the end line. Yuli Hrazankova, she came up with a ground ball. She's a lefty defender for the Czech Republic. That's also been very impressive. As it's dealt behind for Malinovska, and again, the Czechs go to work spreading the field. Head coach Willem Raz has a lot of men's experience. He was an assistant coach at Fairfield University in the 1990s. Connecticut native. Coached women at Maine Maritime. And his lineage is from the Czech Republic. Martir, another well-timed cut. That pass came from the top from Malinovska, and Martir has 4.
And this is something that I think the Czech Republic can do to almost any team here, and it'll be interesting as we can continue to go throughout this event and see who they draw moving forward. But no other team does this type of passing at this speed, not even England. So will this affect the England defense, the Wales defense? Do they end up going that far? There's a potential for the Netherlands, for them to draw the Netherlands. How does it affect those types of defenses with this type of passing?
Mar Camps, the primary draw controller for Spain, as she's able to come up with it. So Spain has been able to hold their own in the draw circle. Selena Hunter. And then stepping across here is Barreda. And off for Teresa Borgera. She's the older sister that just graduated from high school and is headed to Exeter University coming up for the fall. The ball, though, is turned over. And it's going to be Anna Nichova here to outlet over the top. And look at that pass all the way to Larson. We saw the Czechs practice that. Coming up at the half, Steffi, I will invite you to watch how the Czech goalies warm up. It's definitely the most different than anybody else here. Maybe one of the more unique ones. I don't recall seeing goalies practice heaving the ball at each other, but they both can do it with great class. Srahova, and she missed a good look.
And you say that, but they're doing it for a reason. Goalies who can have point precision passing. You know, we joke sometimes that you have to catch the ball off of a clear. And there are some times where they're literally just putting the ball into a spot. And a lot of other teams would potentially run onto that ball. The Czech Republic has the fitness level and the ability to just know where their goalie is putting the ball and run onto it and catch it.
And now they score from distance. Anna Lotman. She's able to make it 11-0. Back in the Czech Republic, now attending medical school. And Lotman has been just as good of a midfielder as anybody else has. That's her first. We're waiting to see her get involved. And that was a bounce shot from distance. Well, where did all this come from? Well, Braz said coming in, feeling the strength of this team is our speed. And we have 8 to 9 fundamentally sound offensive players. And then their fitness level, he was extremely pleased with. And then behind the scenes, if you check out Czech Republic lacrosse on Instagram or on Facebook, they're very tight. They're a very connected team. It's not just chemistry, which can get thrown out there maybe too often, but connected was a word that Will Mraz used to describe the Czech Republic. And it looks like all this work. There's behind the back the shot. A drop off inside. Tierney Larson, 12-0.
Yeah, I agree with all the things that you're saying about the connection. And I think this is where, you know, the Czech Republic is excited about the next step that they can take as a national team. And a lot of that for them will come next week when we get into the playoffs and who they draw. I think they had a lot of goals coming into this week, and reaching that B-level conference, if not dabbling in the A conference, is where they want to be. And from a performance standpoint and a consistency standpoint, they are up there with the likes of Israel, Wales, and England.
Yeah, certainly the eye test. The eye test, I think, has been passed here into the third game. They'll need one more game to finish off Finland to their liking. On Sunday night, Martyr had the last assist. She's piled up the points. Larson also has collected 2 and 1. A throwback inside for Martyr as it carried past. It'll be recovered behind by Bartushkova.
And one thing I like about what Spain is doing is, actually the Czech Republic's doing it. They're forcing Spain to have to constantly move their heads and keep their head on a swivel. I don't think Spain has probably ever guarded a team that's done this much ball movement and this much people movement. So this is an amazing learning experience for this program.
Just a dangle from Teresa Sekharova. This is the best that she has looked. Behind some of the more established stars, Sekharova nets her second. We've hit the water break of the second quarter. There's more fine shooting from the Czechs, 13-0 over Spain. Draw control belongs to the Czechs. Tereza Sikharova, she's got 2 goals. Her second and third as she has added something else to the Czech Republic team. She's getting some more extended playing time. And a little bit of a different look from the Czechs. But it has still been widely effective. And back behind, Bartushkova. And to the outside here for another reset.
If you watch Bartushkova play behind cage, I love how her presence. She keeps her chest up. Her stick is always in her triple threat position, which is huge for feeding. And
the pass in front, and they could not finish, as that was Bartushkova right on the crease. Rodriguez had it, and can Spain execute the clear?
And that's that classic, what I like to call box passing around the cage. The ball starts in one of the high corners and is moved in a box around the cage, ends in the other high corner, and they've shifted the entire defense over, and the shot is wide open on the weak side.
And the Czech Republic, if we were to total them up, 80% of their goals, I would estimate, have been assisted here, regardless of competition. That they have just been terrific at finding one another.
And that may be something that another team recognizes, and a high pressure defense like an England defense or a Wales defense takes that aspect away from them. You also think about the Wales ride, and England even went into a similar Wales ride.
Nice 2-man game there. As the feed from Katarzyna Lavsova for Bartushkova. Bartushkova on the free position. She'll play it down low. Nice fake. Textbook. Tierney Larson from high to low as she darts to the front for her third. Bartushkova on the assist to make it 14-0 past the midway stage of the second quarter.
I love that little hitch fake on the crease. Jenny Simpson did it in the England-Wales game. And the reason I love the hitch is because Larson does the same thing that Simpson did. When she does that quick little flick of her wrist to fake with her stick, she does the same thing with her head. And that is something that just completely wipes out a goalkeeper. Takes them off of their angle, out of position, everything you can think of that small little hitch can do.
Michaela Strahova, they'll redo the draw. And talking to Georgie Hunt, Georgie heard about this matchup today. The Spain head coach, who is a former member of 2 World Cups for England, also coaching the U23 English national team during a tour to Japan. This is her first year as head coach. She wanted transition defense today. How difficult it is to replicate and simulate this kind of pace that Czech Republic plays, but this is a shot inside that Rodriguez, and she could not keep it out of the cage. Thought it might have bounced out. Anna Lotman, though, will get credit for the goal to make it 15-0 on Lotman's second. And another drive-in dish. But she was so thrilled after yesterday's game, pointed that her defense all throughout the game pressured Finland, thought that was the difference maker, and then their ball movement on offense, she thought, took a step forward.
A dramatic step forward. It was, all of these teams that we've been talking about having this great ball movement on offense. When you can do something like that, your offense is in sync. That's what that is. They're all on the same page. And one of the big things that I think we need to consider is the team that can produce offensively with the amount of teams that have high-level defenses here are those who can anticipate. And I'm not talking about anticipate 1 pass ahead. I'm talking about anticipate 2 or 3 passes ahead.
Martyr, she had the cut denied by Rodriguez. Ground ball to the Czech Republic. And that's it for the second quarter. 15-0. The Czech Republic, fantastic once again. The highest scoring team in the tournament is going to up their averages. We'll be back in 15 minutes for the third quarter. At 15-0, the Czech Republic. Another strong game for them, but this one might be even more efficient. Blowout victories, 18-8 over Austria. They scored 21 more goals against Sweden 2 nights ago, and now leading Spain via a shutout as they control the first possession of this third quarter. Blue on blue. Ralph Benarcha with Steffi Samaras joining you again from the Tanya, Israel. Third game of the day out of 6. Italy and Norway will follow, followed by Germany and Ireland, and two teams facing some real urgency, particularly the Germans, as they're 0-4, while Ireland 1-3. So that will be coming up later on this afternoon and into the evening here on Saturday. More games tomorrow on Sunday before the knockout round begins on Monday. Everything will wind up on Thursday, the 26th. Back behind Martyr, fed it to Tierney Larson. And for the Czech Republic, just 16 players. So even in a game like this, unfortunately for Wilm Ross, he cannot necessarily sub out a good chunk of his starters simply because he doesn't have anybody else to go with. So that's the unfortunate situation of that. So the Czech Republic, it will not be any bad sportsmanship. We can underline that. That is just the situation. He only has 16 total on the roster.
And I think, the Czech Republic understands what this event is about. And again, you see Spain still being able to handle their own against the Czech Republic, but
we get a foul off ball. This is going to belong to Spain. New goalie in for the Czech Republic, as they bring on Katarzyna Dvořáková. She's been playing goalie for the last 10 years. Dvořáková, righty goalie just like Anna Nichova.
and that's a rare offsides by the Czech Republic, especially in their offensive transition.
And for Spain, can they end the shutout? Selena Hunter as her pass to the crease. And now we get a card, I think that's going to be issued. Well, it was a foul on the back of the head of Adela Blahovtsova. And it will be Adela's possession. No card issued against Spain's Patricia Zapata.
Oh, anybody just see that grab out of the air?
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty. Body was going the absolute wrong way.
There is a great slickness to Czech Republic.
You know what? I can't help it. I just love watching them play. They're so smooth. It's like they've been doing this together forever. And that's what I love from the coaching standpoint. I want to be on their sidelines and listen to their coach and just look at the smile on his face when he's watching them play, because it's so fun.
Yeah, you wonder, someday Will Raz may be able to look back at this and reflect, boy, they got coached up and they became something special. As here is Lotman, shovel shot, Strahova. Two of the most dynamic midfielders that this tournament has to offer. And just like a walk in the park, they connect on another goal.
I just love watching them play and their connection, and you've said their names a lot. And to me, I won't lie, a lot of the girls on the Czech Republic team look alike. So I'm really trying to focus on their numbers, because we got blonde buns in the midfield, like out of the wazoo. And when I feel like I can't tell who people are, it's because they're all doing the exact same thing, and it's perfection. And
particularly when Will Raz is able to sub in the 6 people he has on the bench, there is no drop-off in terms of pace, ball movement, tempo, cutting. They appear to be interchangeable, which is another scary thought. And we can make a lot of great comparisons. Great basketball teams that sub in waves, similar like that. Great ice hockey teams where lines 1 through 4 continue to come at you.
And I would say a lot of the teams that we talked about, you make a basketball reference, a lot of the teams that we have here and that we've talked about have like that 6-man in their midfield or their offense or their defense. And the Czech Republic, you know, I don't see a drop-off, which makes me feel like, okay, you put them up against one of those A or B teams, and they're going to perform.
Dvořáková in cage. And Teresa Borguera does not shoot there. Can Spain spoil the shutout? Then a double team, and the ball on the ground, and the Czech Republic. Katarzyna Hlavsova will collect it. The other area that Will Raz is hoping to make steps in, defensive communication, but they just haven't, in their 3 games, played a lot of defense yet. And with the lack of practice time, there's meetings and so forth, but you want to keep your players off their feet, particularly with all the running the Czechs do with 16 players. How do you enhance your defensive communication with those kinds of challenges?
I think that is all relatable to team bonding. You don't get to come and play in an event like this without doing some form of team bonding.
Another great pass cross cage. That's a fine finish. That's a slam dunk inside. Marketa Malinovska making it 17-0, but this has been a bit of a coming out party for Teresa Sikharova in terms of the amount of time she has played, and someone that has appeared like she's raised her game. Not necessarily one of their known midfielders to begin today. So Sikharova makes the pass, and another finish on the crease. Or rather, Sikharova on the finish.
Yeah, Sikharova has shown a whole nother side of herself and what she can do from a finishing and a feeding standpoint. And not that I think the Czech Republic will need it, but again, and I've said this a lot today because now we're getting into what I like, the creativity of coaching when you're now progressed enough through the event where all the teams that you're competing against in either the A, B, or C division have seen enough of each other that you get to go to that creative side. And this is where I think the Czech Republic could really have some fun with a knockoff potential with one of those A or B teams.
Spain is the team that's pulled off the one upset we can say that has occurred yesterday afternoon, 11-10. The final score of Finland. Another draw and up. Patience, pretty. Not much left to say. Malinovska able to walk in and wait to shoot and pull the trigger.
And Malinovska just did like this dip, dunk, dive, patience, all that aspect rolled up into one finishing shot.
She has her third. We've hit the third quarter break. 18-0 Czech Republic. Draw control taken here by the Czech Republic and Tierney Larson. And the Czechs quietly have been very proficient there in easily handling first chance ground balls. They have not yet had a lot of them. You wonder what that adjustment will be, because the physical contact for the opponents that will be staring at them in the knockout round. There's a flip pass through Hova. Pick up by Malinovska, and they keep it moving.
And that's how accurate their passes are. It hit her teammate in the chest. Yeah, you'll see some interesting difference in ground balls potentially for the Czech Republic if they are to draw an England or a Wales or an Israel, because of the physicality that we just saw between England and Wales. They get their bodies and their sticks in there.
There's a shot into the upper 90. Anna Lottman makes it 19-0 on the drive to her left. And that's Anna's third.
You know, we talk about the intangible players. Lottman could be considered one of those with the Czech Republic. Now, interesting, we talk about Warren and Lucy Lynch, who are more of the defensive intangible players. Lotman I would consider more of one of the offensive intangible players.
That's her 8th goal of this tournament. And the physicality that those programs will offer, question still I think remains, how will the Czech Republic handle that over the course of a much more grueling battle? They've been able to have their way with pace, with freedom of movement, and those kinds of things that other teams may strategize and say, let's see how they react to it. Transition, Yuli Hrazankova. Ahead, Bartushkova and Larson. Tierney Larson goes way back with both yourself and Wilm Raz. Wilm Raz first met her as an 8th grader when she was playing club ball and refereeing youth games was Tierney in 8th grade. And then Tess Mraz, who Wilm Raz's daughter that played at Eastern Connecticut through Fairfield Ludlow High School in Connecticut, just outside of New York City. They were 3 years apart. So Wilm Raz knew her for a while. Then they reconnected later on, as there's a past that was not connected. And Wilm Raz was in the process of thinking about, well, who could be my assistant coach prior to 2017? He was looking for assistant. He saw Tierney at a club tournament years later, remembered her and said, you know what, that's who I'm going to reach out to. Texted her an hour later. Tierney had made her decision. Crisp pass again in front, Lotman. Or rather, actually, Adela Blahovtsova, the other birthday girl, and she makes it 20-0. So that's how far back they go to bring in a player that has bought into the Czech Republic system despite not having any ties to the country. And then you go back to Tierney Larson even further.
So I believe that when Tierney was in 6th grade, she was a member of a club in Connecticut called New Lax. And I was the director of New Lax. I had just finished up my coaching career, my first round of coaching at Quinnipiac University in Hamden, Connecticut, and I was the club director for New Lax, and Tierney was one of our first members. And I don't remember much of her play because that was so long ago, and I've had 3 kids since, and your memory goes. But she recognizes me, actually just before the start of this game. She approached me and reintroduced herself, and interestingly enough, she has one of those smiles that regardless of your age, you happen to remember. And it was great to chit-chat with her and talk about the old New Lax days and some of the NSYNC songs we used to play all the time, and Backstreet Boys, all that fun stuff. Yes, that's what you do in club lacrosse in the United States. You play fun music and the kids dance.
I thought there'd be a lot more lacrosse.
We play some lacrosse. We play some lacrosse.
The Czechs keep it on backup. Well, Tierney has fully invested herself, immersed herself with this team. The language is coming along, and especially being an English tutor. Sweep across, Bartushkova. She continues. Save made. Marta Rodriguez with the stick. And she has seen an onslaught of shots coming her way. As here comes the outlet. And Spain has not been able to have much possession. We have not yet seen Marta Bravo handle the ball yet. And we want to tell her story at some point. Tierney Larson graduated from Marist College in Poughkeepsie, New York, upstate New York, in 2014.
I think Spain has done a very good job of holding their own defensively. They're learning a lot about picks, screens, how to communicate through all of that. And now, offensively, we can hopefully see the Czech is going to stay in a little bit, and Spain will get a good look on. I'd like to also see them have a long possession. That will give them a lot of confidence.
It's going to be a call against the Czechs, and it's going to lead to a free position. So, among the best scoring chances Spain has had today. Hunter, low save made. Dvořáková, the stop at the end of the third quarter. The Czech Republic able to add 5 more on their blistering pace, 20-0 as we go to the fourth. Fourth quarter, and all that's left for the Czech Republic is to get in and out of this game as quick as possible. They lead 20-0 through 3 quarters. And can Spain spoil a shutout before their significant game tomorrow against Sweden? And we call it significant because it might be the first of 2 times that the 2 nations play one another, as the shovel pass for Martyr. And the Czechs, Larson, as she was collapsed on by defenders. And a takeaway perhaps by Spain. But Malinovska will cover, so good redefend by the Czech Republic. But Spain versus Sweden, should things line up, there are 16 teams here in the European Championships. Eventually, for the final day of the tournament, Thursday, the 26th, the 15 versus 16 game for 15th place is significant. Good job by Malinovska, not shooting there and looking for something better. But that game will mean significance, and even the people here in the European Lacrosse Championships, that game is significant because 15th qualifies for the World Championships, 16th does not, pending other nations having to pull out. So that is a knockout game that may alter the landscape of your nation's lacrosse community for the next couple of years, not being able to be in the Worlds and what that involves.
And that goes back to, and is upsetting to hear about, we understand why they have to do that, but a huge theme has been the growth of these countries.
Save inside by Marta Rodriguez on Malinovska. Follow-up chance though, and that shot is buried. Katarzyna Hlavsova getting some time on offense. She makes it 21-0.
So we talked a lot about the development of not just one or two of the countries here, but we have a good 10 out of the 16 that are still trying to get their feet wet and have the type of setups in their country like an England has, with clubs playing, universities playing, it being, lacrosse being a common knowledge sport in their countries, and to potentially not vie for a world championship 2 years out from the actual world championship is something that will probably be very frustrating if it's a country that is looking to continue to develop.
Yeah, it can stunt your growth. You don't have that build up to it and a chance to play all those games and the target set in front of you to work towards, regardless of where you are, what level you're at. So that is something to look out for here on that final day. Might be the most significant game. Gold medals are great, but the teams there will certainly have a future, as here's Mark Camps pushing. And Camps, good stick check by Razankova, and the pickup by Michaela Strahova. Outlet to Blavsova. And here are the Czechs again. Same thing, the 9 versus 10 game has great significance too. So top officials get put on that game. Cut to the front, good rollback, fine finish. Pass from the top, Tierney Larson shakes the hand of the feeder Anna Lotman. 22-0, and now the Czechs have their new goal high in a game.
So Tierney Larson with the finish there, and we've talked a bunch about patience with some of these attacking units, and we've talked a lot about the quarterback aspect and even changing the point of attack with regards to the quarterback. She adds another quarterback aspect for the Czech Republic, which is one of the reasons why I think this Czech team can compete in this A bracket.
Draw control picked up, and we saw Wilbras have Teresa Bartushkova handle a little bit more behind, perhaps with that thought, and Larson playing a little bit off ball.
Yeah, and when we've talked about all of these A bracket teams, we've consistently talked about 2 quarterbacks per team, a lot of that coming with potentially a high quarterback and a low quarterback, and I can't believe I'm saying these terms with regards to lacrosse, but it is just a term that makes so much sense for our sport. We've talked about the dual midfields or the singular midfields that can last over a 4-quarter period. We've talked about the defenses and what they've been able to take away. And it's interesting, the Czech Republic is now checking all of those boxes. Mm-hmm. When you think about these teams that continue to compete for the A bracket in the European Championships, even from a goalkeeping standpoint, both of the Czech Republic's goalkeepers have wowed us over the 4-game span.
Big credit goes to Will Mraz, who's in his 4th year coaching the team. He had coached the Czech Republic men's team. Prior to that, he went with them to Denver for the World Championships. And that was in 2014 prior to that. And a one-time women's college lacrosse coach, last coach with Hillary Fratsky with William and Mary in 2018. That's the connection he has with Bella Martyr. And he was involved in that recruiting process. So that was a connection. So he's someone that's been around the game currently, going back a long time, and of course has a lot of men's college coaching underneath his belt, but he did not play at all in high school. It was not offered at his high school, which is now called Staples High School in Connecticut. Only played football until he shows up at Fairfield, and they're starting a team at that time. And isn't that amazing, the way life will pull you in different directions?
Well, not only that, I don't know how I didn't know his connection to Hillary Fratsky. Great Towson All-American. I actually grew up coaching her. She's from the Eastern Shore of Maryland. But when I think about Hillary Fratsky as a player, she would fit on this Czech Republic team just from her speed, her precision passing. Everything I see about her as a player, I see out of these Czech Republic players. Czech Republic, and great sportsmanship, taking a lot of time off the clock, working on things. They've reached the midway point of the 4th quarter. 22-0 is their lead. We're coming back for the finish. The Czechs over Spain in our 3rd game of the day. Following the water break, 22-0 Czech Republic. And they've spread out the scoring remarkably in a game that is 22-0. Nobody from the Czechs has more than 4. That's Bella Martyr, and she did that within the first 10 goals. You know, one difference I've seen for Spain today, Quigley has been playing a lot of defense. And I wonder if that is purposeful on Coach Hurt's plan, so Quigley can get some more defensive work coming into this game, knowing that Spain could potentially be in this position against the Czech Republic. Great idea, because Quigley has so much spunk, reaction time, just from her offensive skills.
And spunk is especially when she had the courage to take two of the biggest shots in Spain's lacrosse history in their infancy, the tying goal and then the game-winning goal, both with under 3 minutes left, to carry Spain to their win over Finland. And the other point to ask Georgie Hurd about how they finished off the game, in which they have practiced some time stalling aspects in their infancy, but she made it real easy. She was able to draw it up during a timeout, and she does have some experienced players in the field, like the Borgeras, who have been well coached under Lucy Lynch out of the Benedictine School, where they attend boarding school in the UK. So they had some under their belts, but still they showed that they had closed out games before, even though they had not ever together.
You know, and that just shows the trust that not only does Georgie Hurt have in her team, but what they can want to do for her and what they will do for her.
Yuli Razankova getting some time on offense. Here is able to cut as the continuity offense ends up with a terrific look. Yuli, that's her first goal of her time here at the Euros. 23-0. Mainstay starting defender.
You think of only elite level teams that can go into a timeout, have a coach draw something up, and then actually execute what the coach has just drawn up. So kudos to Georgie and her Spain squad for that execution yesterday. And I am super pumped to watch Spain take on Sweden tomorrow.
And today, this is just a blip on the screen for them as they trail and just hope to avoid a shutout. They can get the ball. But Marta Bravo, in case you didn't hear, in that game, she scored 5 goals the day before she turned 16. Today is Marta's birthday, so happy birthday, Marta. They had a sash that says happy birthday for her prepared. She's here with her parents, but 5 goals as a 15-year-old. We were wondering who had ever done that before and tried to come up with at least a few names that would pop up, but I would say it's maybe a small handful. And then tonight, Marta Bravo's parents are invited to dinner with the team. But Georgie Hurt knew that she has a talented 15-year-old, but never expected and to see that kind of production. She surprised them all with that kind of just the gumption, and they played her more and more second, third, fourth quarters yesterday against Finland as she got more comfortable.
Yeah, and this is the exciting thing about Spain and what Georgie's been able to do in such a short period of time. You know, you can think in 2 years, if Spain is able to get that 15th seed and go to the World Championships, what can Georgie accomplish in 2 years with Spain? That is just so exciting for me to think about.
Final seconds. Or check that rather now. They've called out it's 3 minutes rather. So see if the Czech Republic will hold it here for the rest. And fortunately for Georgie Hurt's parents, everything is okay. Georgie's mom, they were in the car during the game, watching the game, driving to Southampton. Dad was listening to the commentary, I hope, and not watching. But Mom was watching it, of course, and listening on the phone, and they were on pins and needles watching throughout. So that's how Georgie Hurt's parents lived through the biggest win that their daughter's new team ever achieved. Coach Hurt heard from a lot of people associated with from English lacrosse, former men's and women's players, especially on the men's side, that messaged her and saying, hey, you know, incredible job, that people noticed in the lacrosse world. Hey, Spain defeated Finland. That's special.
That is really special. And, you know, just the support I know we mentioned yesterday during our broadcast, Lucy Lynch from England was here. has some ties and coaches some of the Spanish players at their high school. Again, it goes back to what this sport can do for people. We've talked a lot about Welsh player Storm Trentham, who's started the program in Kenya, and Kenya will be sending their first ever team to the U19 World Championships in Peterborough, Ontario, just in actually about a week and a half.
Yep, Peterborough hosts. I think the first game is August 1st. So teams are going to get there, like Marketa Malinovska. She's going to go home. I don't think she's going to unpack.
Do laundry,
right?
And repack.
Yep. And then leave the Czech Republic for the Toronto area and get there just in time for a scrimmage. Get your feet under you, the jet lag away. And Malinovska, she's the captain, so it's not like she is a reserve player. She's going to have a significant role in which will be another grueling tournament.
Potentially against completely different, I mean, it will be against completely different competition, but against brand new countries. Brand new players. And this is where world lacrosse comes in huge. And we talk about all these different players and how they go and support other players and what this sport has been able to do for so many different people, and what we hope this sport can do for Spain.
Spain today never gave up, but the Czech Republic is at a level that we may find out sets the lacrosse world ablaze. 23-0. Just another fantastic performance up and down their lineup. Bella Martyr scored 4 of their first 10 goals. Is all you need to know. Everybody was involved. It is the first shutout of the Euros. The Czech Republic, you'll want to catch them again tomorrow night against Finland, a program that should be very much motivated off of their upset loss yesterday to Spain. You can watch that game at 10:20 on Sunday, which will be in the morning, 10:20 a.m. in Israel. For Steffi Samaras, I'm Ralph Bednarczyk. The next game coming up, it'll be Italy and Norway. Norway looking for another victory to move to 3-0 so they can set up a battle with the Netherlands for Group B, which will be slated on Sunday. Italy, they're looking for their first win. Why don't you join us for the approximate time? Should be around 5:40 or 45 minutes from now. Thank you so much, and we'll speak to you then.